Hmm. Hello, welcome to day 10 of Daily December Embodiment Challenge. It is nighttime. It is 9:30 at night, and I'm going to try to record this, edit this, upload this all before tomorrow at 9 a.m., which is a lot of work to get done in the middle of the night. Um, this challenge is certainly a challenge. This pace is definitely keeping me aware of my limits and the necessity of shiftability in my process. Some days I find I have enough energy to also share and announce that I have created a video and it's online. And for the last 4 or 5 days, I think, or so, I've really mostly only managed to get the announcement in my stories on Instagram and then cross post them on Facebook for my personal page, my Self Care for Performers page. But I haven't been able to do like posts about it so much. It's just a lot. It's just a lot. The making and sharing process, if you make and share and then tell people what you've made and shared, um, it's just really time consuming. It takes a lot of focus, it takes a lot of energy, it takes a lot of recommitting to the process. And I think it also takes a lot of like letting yourself off the hook, resting, allowing yourself to like let things drop away that aren't working or that are too much, so that you can keep showing up to the baseline of whatever it is that you've promised yourself or made a commitment for. Sometimes it can be as much important to know what you're releasing as it is to know what you're committing to. And sometimes, in order to stay committed to something, you need to release a little or a lot of the components of what is a part of your potential commitment, whether that's a single project or whether that's the overall way you're approaching your career or a sense of understanding your relationship to a job or a gig or work in general, whether it's related to the performing arts or not. Um, you know, Self care for performers is for performing artists, but it's also just for like the roles that we have to show up to in life, the very human component of like what a performing artist also is, the concept of you make a commitment to a role. If you're a performing artist, you show up, you learn the tools, you memorize the lines and the script, right? Or the choreography, the things that are going to allow you to show up into the agreement to perform and be witness to doing something that's serving in some way, communicating something in some way. And we have so many, everything we do in life really is sort of a facet of the same kind of thing. So there are theoretically transferable skills. It's just a little different. Um, when we show up in our lives and we have a role to play or a role to take on, right? Maybe it's that of a caretaker or a family member in a certain capacity. Maybe it's a certain kind of a friendship that you have, or uh, a, a business not related to the performing arts role that you're taking on, or any kind of experience or expression of what it means to understand your place in the connection in the sphere of production the production being life or the production being like a creative project, right? So today, this morning, if you follow my personal page, the Marissa Harumi Instagram, you may have seen in my stories a little post too that last night I got a message from a neighbor of mine who had found an injured dove outside. We thought it was a pigeon. It was a dove, a ringneck dove, and needed some care. And the other neighbors in my building that otherwise would have taken in the bird have cats or pets that are more predatory, cats or dogs, and didn't have a way to keep the birds safe overnight. So I took the bird in, a little love dove, and they were very sweet, not eating or drinking, which is not a good sign. So even though the external wound didn't look too bad, me and the other women I were talking to in the chat about the state of the bird have a sense that there's probably a lot of internal components going on, maybe some sepsis or some internal bleeding or something. So I, did the best I could and set the bird up with a heating pad and a mirror and electrolyte water and little bird feed and veggies. but they did not make it through the night. And so I usually do these embodiment videos in the morning, but it didn't feel respectful to make one while that was happening. So I let myself tend to the necessity of being with the passing of this little soul that I spent some time with last night. And called my mom, who I caretake for, and let her know I had to find a place to bury a dove today. And did she want to come with me? And she said, oh, yes. So I picked her up and we went to the Santa Monica Mountains, and I spent a little time there on a hike. My mom is disabled, needs a hip replacement, and so she wasn't able to go on the hike with me to do the burial, but she did wait at the trailhead and enjoy the sun, and I was able to spend some time there and had some flowers that I took, some dried roses, and we had a little white dried orchid that was actually from my grandmother's burial from back in August. So felt like a nice little bit of a completion moment, a really nice soft moment to have with my mom in relationship to it. And we the trailhead was right next to a restaurant in Malibu, and that offered a really good clam chowder, and clam chowder was one of my grandmother's favorite foods. So I got us a couple of little cups of clam chowder, and we ate that before heading back to back down to where my mom lives. So that was what we did today. So I'm bringing that energy with me in my heart today and in my body, and the awareness of like the bigness that comes with any sort of portal to transition. And truthfully, I'm not sure if this book is going to be the right book. I'm going to pull to a page and see if it feels right. If not, then I have another book or two I might utilize instead for the embodiment for this evening, if it doesn't feel right to utilize what's in here. So let's see where we land and see if something feels right. We did that one. We did that one, but we did not do this one. But that doesn't feel right. How about this actually feels really appropriate. So we're just going to go with it. I have big, heavy feelings right now, a lot of expansiveness. So let's just go with Fear Collage. It feels right. Portal open. You ready for it? Let's go. Benefits: processes feelings and improves emotional regulation, decision making, and coping skills. Prep time 10 minutes, exercise time 50 minutes, materials: magazines, scissors, glue. One sheet of 18 by 24-inch heavyweight drawing paper, acrylic paint, paint brushes, and a cup of water. Or if you're me right now, just your body. So here's the description. We'll read it to you. While you are processing a traumatic event or feeling depressed, fear might keep you from feeling motivated to practice self-care. Fear can be overwhelming and can stop you from moving forward. Some fears are good because they can prevent you from being hurt. But some fears are illusions that stop you from progressing through life. This exercise identifies your fears and helps you regulate your emotions about them. Step 1. Take 10 minutes to identify 3 fears that are stopping you from being happy or achieving your goals. 2. Choose images from the magazines that represent your fear. 3. Cut out the images and glue them to your paper. 4. Once all 3 fears have been represented, choose the paint colors that represent your fear and add these colors to the collage. So we're going to identify 3 fears that are stopping me from being happy or achieving my goals. I just want to stay right here when I do this. It feels like it's already here. I think I had like a fear of like not honoring death cycles, which is appropriate for this experience of today. I have a fear of moving on too fast. I have a fear of not being with the underbelly of the everything that I need and want to take with me to kind of honor the heart and the soul of the moment. I have a fear of that. Not of those things. I'm comfortable with those things. I have a fear of not being with those things. I have a fear of moving on without them, or moving on past them, or releasing them and allowing them to integrate so that I can move forward. I have a fear of moving forward. The fear of release. The fear of not holding in my heart these things that I value, these moments that I value, these connections that I want to honor. Part of me is like, and we're done. That's it. That's it. That's all the embodiment today. You have so much work that you still have to do. I still have to edit the video. I might not do much in the editing process, just like drop it at the beginning of the closing cycle that I have preset. And let that be that. I'm going to stand up though and do something, and then we'll see. Okay. I am now my fears that keep me from moving forward. There's like this wobble here on the right side. It's like I want to go, and then I get really sad and sway back. And I just wish that I could go, and I like know that I can't. I feel like this is where a lot of my longing comes from. It's like longing to move forward. This longing to just have there be a period where the grief dissipates, integrates. I'm just going to stay here and see if that happens. What happens if I just know I long for the completion process of this? And even still, it feels like I'm in an ever ocean, ever sea, evergreen experience of like just death is always here with me. I think there's a truth to that, right? Things are ending all the time, but things are also beginning all the time. But I feel really focused on the ending, and there's something here that feels like it serves me in a way that like in the endings one can release, relax, and allow. And it's just like I need to feel held. This comes up a lot in my embodiments, like the necessity of me feeling held. I really long for it. I really need it. I really require it. And I don't sense that there's the option to feel held if I move outside of grief. So I want to back up into it. I don't know that this is true, right? This is my experience, and this is the fear that's holding me back from what I want, but to embody it, this is it. I don't feel like I can leave this. This is my home. It's what I've known. It's where I've made peace. There's nothing really wrong with it. I feel like I really can just like stay here. Like it's okay to be a grief doula, even as my embodiment yesterday was like not wanting to be the basin for everybody else's grief, wanting to like release that. So what if I am aware of what happened yesterday with the transition from before my trauma, during my trauma, and the after my trauma? What if I bring the awareness of the after integration, which was like not needing to be the basin of grief, allowing the grief to happen, to hide, but then to keep moving it and pushing it out and then opening up. So like connecting to this cycle, the cyclical nature of it. So I'm just gonna remember that embodiment from yesterday and bring it in. There's something here that feels a little stuck. This throat piece yesterday, that was part of it too. I feel like I'm not allowed to speak. So we're back in almost the same embodiment as yesterday. Just gonna hold myself here until maybe I have what I need. Oh, my throat is itchy, my ears feel itchy. Everything feels itchy right here. My head feels itchy, I'm getting hot. I like can't take this. This is, I mean, I can take it, but like it feels like the feeling of, you know, when you're like inside your skin, you're like crawling, like your skin is crawling and you like need to jump out of your body. It feels like that on a minor level because I know I'm in an embodiment. So like I still have, and this is I think helpful just to narrate for anyone who's interested in doing embodiment work with me or in other practices. I always keep a tether from the top of my head to like my conscious awareness to know that like I am safe and this is choice. Like it might not feel like a choice, but that I always have some sort of connection to some part of my awareness that allows me to dissipate the impact of what I'm embodying. That's a necessary component for me. That when I deep dive into these experiences, or when I allow these experiences to be emergent from within me, that there's still some sort of connection to like, and I can choose to release it. So, what if I just choose to release it? This fear that's holding me back. Because I do have a conscious awareness tie to this other part or parts of me that isn't being held back by these fears. So I'm just going to embody the sort of like taking off the layers of that embodiment and just like clearing the space of it, of my fears. I feel like, you know, those cartoons of like the cloud comes and the cloud is like anthropomorphized and it like blows like a, and then it blows everything. I feel like that. Like I am the cloud that's blowing, or I'm the wind that's blowing the clouds or something like. But what I'm doing is I'm blowing the fears away. Blow your fears away. Okay. Whew, I feel better, not so hot. Questions for discussion. Are are your fears based on physical threats or psychological threats? I guess psychological. I mean, grief. I mean, it's emotional. It's somatic, but also like psychologically, it is psychological as well. Can you think of any positive self statements that will address your fear? Positive self statements about myself that addresses my fear. Well, I guess like I showed myself that I can connect to part of myself past the fear. I can connect to the aspect of myself inside and above the fear in order to release the fear, in order to blow it away. Like I'm the wind and I'm blowing away clouds. And the fear isn't who I am, it's just sort of weather. The fear can be weather. Oh, let's do that. Let's just, I'm going to hold myself. You can do the same. There's a, for like a somatic resourcing thing, you put your hand, so you put your right hand over your heart, but then like tuck it underneath, a little bit under your armpit, but still kind of on your heart. And then you take the other one and you put it over your shoulder or on the side of your arm. And this helps you like connect to yourself. It helps your body connect to your body. Like your conscious awareness in your tactile hands, like comforts the animal of your body. It's a little self-resourcing. So I want to just offer into this space because I need this, and maybe it's something that you'll find value and nourishment in too, but that there's this lovely space that we can connect to inside of us, inside deep within the unhealed part of us, and outside expansively above the clarity beyond the clouds of fear. So if there's anything for you that you feel like you've been afraid of, or that are creating challenges, blocking you from the life you wish to live, the actions you long to take, the experiences you know would feel right to have if only. I want to play into that space of the if only and imagine that any fears that are there in the if only, you can just brush away, blow away. And in the space that was if only, you can create a experience of, and now it is. To feel what that would be like, to feel what that is like, to release and open to the potentiality of really receiving what you desire, really embodying what you wish, really knowing yourself in the fullest form of a match card for the life you feel on the other side of your trauma, your pain, your fear, your resentment, your hopelessness, your grief. Not to shame or blame or guilt yourself or the weather of your life, but to really honor it, hold it as sacred, understand that all weather is valuable. We need storms just as we need fair weather. And we don't need to stay. We don't need to follow the storm around. We can allow the weather to pass, and we can, even if we choose to, cultivate our own climate in certain ways, not completely, but certain areas of the world do create certain kinds of climates, and some areas tend to be more cold, and others are more wet, and some are more dry, and some are more warm. And I want to invite you into the embodiment, the feeling of your optimal weather. For some of you, emotionally, that might hold a tinge of bittersweet and longing. That might be your optimal weather. And for others, there might be a letting go and return to lightness, or a sunny disposition that feels like the weather of your soul essence. But I invite you to think of your essence. The essence of you as being a kind of ever-present connection to the weather of your most compatible habitat. And then just drink that in your mind's eye. If you need to move or write or engage in anything that feels like a match card, I invite you to explore creatively, or just release, relax, and allow this to be a still meditation. Or a moving meditation. Or an invitation to cultivate a practice in relationship to the quality of meditation, of your soul essence as an ever undercurrent of compatible weather available to you. And just drink that in, breathe that in, let that flow. I'm going to put my hands on my knees and ground, feeling the strength of my spine. Strong yet flexible spine, nice and aligned Shoulders on top of hips, skull on top of heart. And I'm inviting one hand to my heart and one hand to my belly. Feeling the warmth of my body. The comfort of my touch. The invitation to self-soothe. Finding for yourself what part of self-compassion, body connection, breath intimacy that you find satiating, compatible, loving, and the right match for this inner weather and soul essence that is ever present at the core of who you are. And I'm going to invite us back into the room. Maybe you want to rub your hands or your feet together or give yourself a nice stretch or motion through your kinesphere, that area around you, the reach of your arms or your legs. Maybe you want to feel the touch of your skin or brush any energies off of you, or just wake up the cells of your body. Coming back. Thank you for joining me for that. And I just want to hold in that space between my heart and my throat. Feels like this is a expression from that space. And this is a space that I am going to devote myself to becoming increasingly connected to while feeling intentionally registering safety. That piece is hard. To stay connected to this space while intentionally registering safety. I feel myself sink back and hide a little bit. And that's just to note not to need to change right now. And perhaps it will keep evolving and changing through the course of our 30 days plus final ceremony on the 31st day for this month of December. This Sunday, which will be tomorrow, I am opening up a Zoom room. If anyone would like to join me, access to the link is in the self-care garden. And I hope to see you there. I'll see you tomorrow.